Welcome everyone to the WordCamp Los Angeles Live Show. I am Joey Dowd, your live show host and wrangler. We are just 2 days away from WordCamp LAX this weekend. All of our amazing volunteers, wranglers, and speakers are working tirelessly to bring you an amazing and unique virtual camp. A few announcements. Our schedule is fully live, so be sure to check it out. All of the talks will be streaming to WordCamp's main YouTube channel and at la.wordcamp.org. But you should still register. In addition to getting recognized at la.wordcamp.org, if you so choose, you will also have access to our WordCamp Slack. So the talks are great, but they'll live online and you can watch them anytime. The magic of a live event, and especially a WordCamp, is having a large, diverse group of people come together, share knowledge, and interact with each other. The interacting part is a bit more challenging to do virtually, so in addition to the Zoom hallways we talked about before, we'll have a dedicated Slack for the camp. It'll be a great way to interact with other attendees and speakers from all over. But only registered attendees will have access, so make sure you register. It's free. Go to la.wordcamp.org. Also, share your tips. The theme of our WordCamp is WordPress tricks of the trade. We want to hear your tips. If you tweet out your tips and use the hashtag WCLAX, we'll pick the best ones and feature them here on the live show and on the standby loop. But it's got to be a tweet. I mean, you can share your tips anywhere, but I can only pull in tweets from the hashtag WCLAX on Twitter. And finally, the live show. We'll be coming at you live on the hour every hour, or just about all weekend long. The live show will be streaming out to more platforms than the full conference, including all of WordCamp Los Angeles' accounts, like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. The main talks on both tracks will have live captioning the entire camp, but because the captioners need a break, the live show will not have live captioning. So if you would like to have the captions on during the live show, tune in on Facebook, which has excellent auto captions. We'll also have links on the camp page to the Facebook streams, and you don't need to have an account or be logged into Facebook to watch the live show. All right, and now for the interview. Earlier this week, I had a chance to chat with Gael from our expert level sponsor, IONOS. Enjoy our conversation. Welcome, everyone. I am joined today with Gael Dupula from our expert level sponsor, IONOS. So hello, Gael. Thank you for joining us today. So just want to tell us a bit about IONOS and what you do.
Mm-hmm. So IONOS is a big German company that does hosting and cloud services and infrastructure, and basically we have several products for WordPress hosting, and we adapt to different types of customers, ranging from private persons or freelancers to agencies. Usually what we provide is a kind of package to host your WordPress and connect a domain to it and have an email account that goes with it, and also a very good support when you need. Exactly.
That's great. So if someone wanted to get started with a WordPress site, how would they go about on your page? Is it kind of like a one-click deploy? You can set up with a WordPress site. What's the process like to get started?
Exactly. The idea is it is a one-click installation. So you order a product, and once it's ready to use, the idea is you have no configuration or technical setup whatsoever. You have an easy interface where you basically fill in a few credentials, and you click, and everything is taken care of in the background. So setting up the database, connecting the domain to the WordPress, and the idea is really that the user is spared any setup or maintenance and just directly goes to the fun part. So They just want to have something that's so ready that it can already go online. It just has to be a bit customized, so the user can choose a design and creating some content, and it can go online for in an hour.
Okay, that's great.
And then the maintenance, exactly, and then the maintenance is also taken care of, like WordPress updates and themes and plugins updates, etc.
Is it flexible where if someone manages a lot of sites, they could kind of easily manage a bunch of sites, or is it more for people that have like one or two sites?
Sure. We have contract that also implies multiple installations, and we have also a special WordPress Pro for agencies where you have your own Plesk panel and can manage a lot of installation, and also here have your hands dirty a bit, so taking care of all the technical details because you want your own setup and you want to do it your own way, how you manage your customers.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, is there any kind of certain kind of specialties that you focus on more in regards to WordPress, like e-commerce or something else that you maybe specialize in more, or is it kind of just any kind of use case for WordPress?
We have a broad. We really have a broad list of use cases. Really, you can be really someone with no technical background at all that just heard of WordPress and think it's cool and want to try, or you can really be a pro in making WordPress websites for people. It really depends.
Yeah, super.
We really have several products that's really depending on what's your type. And for people who needs guidance, we also have a kind of assistant plugin for WordPress that helps you choosing the right design and the right plugins for the type of website you want. Like if you have a bakery, or I'm thinking about private person or small businesses that just want to have a quick website that's pretty in what I said, an hour, and just wants their address in it and something that they like, but don't want to go through the whole pain of knowing something about internet or search engine optimization and so on.
Yeah, do you want to talk about your own WordPress journey, sort of how you got into WordPress and your story?
Sure. So I'm a developer, so I always knew WordPress from a developing point of view, and my journey is quite eclectic, quite funny actually. I started knowing WordPress in 2009 when I started my first job. It was in Canada when the web was blooming and WordPress was on its soon on its third version, so WordPress 3. It was also the whole time of developing the web with blood and sweat actually, so like WordPress, an old WordPress and CSS1 and Internet Explorer 6 and 7 and so on. So I learned a lot about the basics of the web and the browser specifications and how it all works on the background. And I moved to Germany in 2011, and like in Canada, I worked in a small agency, so I was still used to set up basically WordPress myself and for a specific person, a specific need. And it was still a lot of developing. And when I moved to IONOS in 2015, I think, it was a completely different perspective. So I had 1 year and a half where I didn't work on WordPress anymore because I was hired to do something else. And then quite luckily, I went back to WordPress, and it was at the time in 2018 where the block editor was the big next thing in WordPress. So it was very interesting. And it was also a complete new experience because suddenly I wasn't a tailor anymore. I was a factory. It means I wasn't developing something for one person. I was developing something for millions of persons. And it's really interesting because you start working very differently. Suddenly you're not just coding something and following a very precise list of requirements for just one website. You are developing for so many people, you have no idea what they want or what they need at first, and you have to kind of master the art of knowing them, so getting feedback from them, and maybe start differentiating some groups depending on the needs. So for example, single person, agency, and so on. And it's less coding, and it's a lot more experimenting and doing research, and it's really a very interesting work.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely a different perspective from working on one website.
Exactly, there's an enormous difference.
Yeah, and do you prefer? I'm sorry. Do you prefer one over the others, or just they've both been two kind of interesting journeys?
It's been two kind of interesting journeys. I miss sometimes just working on a very dedicated project for just one person, because it's a lot more personal. But sometimes I think if I would go back to that, I would also miss the big hosting work with the user experience that it implies, knowing what kind of user you cater to. I think you cannot compare the two. I'm glad I had both.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, so last one, the theme of our camp is WordPress tricks of the trade. So do you have a quick tip that you can share with people that relates to WordPress?
So I have one tip that's probably very usual, but for users, beginners, or even users that are a bit used to WordPress already, I would say keep your WordPress secure. It's very important. There are a ton of setup guides online for configuring your WordPress with some plugins and some stuff to be sure it's secure. Be careful when you choose plugins and themes to check the author, check how much they are used before you choose some shady plugin and theme. From my experience, a lot of websites got broken or even hacked when you don't follow some basic rules of security. For example, having an SSL domain, so it's also important that you choose the right hoster that also provides that kind of stuff. But exactly, WordPress security is really one big point.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I feel like a lot of people focus on the design and a lot of the other elements and forget about the security. What are some of the most common things you see or easiest things you see that people don't do security-wise that they could do very quickly?
I think really the choice of themes and plugins. We are easily, I think, a user that is not really tech savvy. They tend to be seduced by how it looks or the functionality it has, without looking too much on the ratings it has, for example, or how much it's used, or how much it's recommended by diverse WordPress platforms or WordPress itself. And it's very, very often that the problems you have are due to bad plugins or themes, and you just have to know the good platforms where you can find them. For example, for themes, there are a lot of very, very cool platforms where you can find cool themes that you know are secured. And usually users also like to fiddle a bit with the code, try some stuff that they search on Google because they want something specific, and then it goes straight to hell because sometimes they mess with something essential. For example, in the configuration from WordPress, this PHP file for configuration, customers like to try to add their stuff, and usually they don't know very well how it works because it's already very technical and it breaks something. And it's good as a professional that you remember, you don't consider your user is clueless. It's just you have to check. When the user does something that seems weird, usually it's because they have a need that you haven't figured out yet. And that's the case where you have to be there and do some support and remind him of what's good that he can use and where he has to be careful.
I think that's a good takeaway, that it's it doesn't mean that they were ill-informed. It's a design issue if they break something to think about. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find out more about IONOS? Website and URL or social media.
Our website is very thorough. We have a lot of information. I would recommend simply to go on the website, so on UNOS.de for German people, on UNOS.com for US, of course. And we have, I would recommend our website actually.
A lot of resources there.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Gael, and thanks. We'll see you around the camp. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will be back here live tomorrow and then all weekend long. Remember to register for your free tickets at la.wordcamp.org and share your WordPress tips on Twitter with the hashtag WCLAX. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.